Day 10 of our 10 Days of Summer Sublimation is finally here. And today I took the kids outside and we are going to bleach and sublimate some t-shirts. This is one of our all-time favorite things to do in the summer because the kids can just get so creative with the different styles of the bleaching methods that they can do. And they just love being able to create things that they can wear and show off to their friends and say, yep, I made that. So let's get right on into how we are going to do this. Okay, here's one of the shirts that I just bleached. And as you can see, it has an interesting pattern on it. And all I do to get that is I just kind of scrunch up the shirt and then spray it with my bottle of bleach like this. And then I open it up and let it sit in the sun. This one actually processed really fast because it is nice and sunny and warm today. And then I did flip it over and did the similar thing on the back. You can do as much or as little. If you want to see more of an in-depth tutorial on how to bleach your shirts and different styles you can do, I will link a video up above and down in the description box below because I did a full tutorial on how to do like I think it was three different styles. But anyways, here is the beginning of my bleached shirt. Now I am going to grab just a piece of cardboard and slide it between the shirt inside here so that I can white out the middle part here for sublimating the design. And I will be right back to show you what that looks like. Okay, here the shirt is with the cardboard piece underneath, so you can see that. And I use the same like 3-finger rule of thumb for where you would place your design. And we are just going to watch this continue processing. And I made just a big white space. It might be a little big actually for the design that my daughter had picked out, but this will turn the entire part white so we can sublimate on there. And the reason for the cardboard between the shirt is so that this doesn't soak through to the back side. I made a mistake doing that once before and ended up sublimating a design on the back as well for my daughter. But this is what it is looking like right now. And when this is all done processing, you can spray it with hydrogen peroxide if some of it is turning white faster than other parts to kind of stop the process once it gets to the white you want. But when this is done, I'm going to pop it in the washing machine and just do a quick rinse cycle and then put it in the dryer and it will be ready to go to sublimate. So here we have my bleached t-shirt. It is green with a white square, sort of rectangle in the middle here. And it has been rinsed and dried. And we are going to put our print right here in the middle. My heat press is warmed up to 380 degrees, and we're going to press this for 60 seconds. With this, we are going to press this first, just to get out any of the wrinkles. And when I'm sublimating on a shirt that has been bleached, I always have on hand a spray bottle with hydrogen peroxide in it. And that is so if when you heat this up, your bleached areas turn like a funny color. They sometimes get like a tannish color, an orangish color. You can just spray it and then hover your heat over it. Don't press it, but just hover it, and that heat will change it back to a nice bright white color. So I am going to press this for a few seconds to get out those wrinkles. And then I thought it would be fun to do that same print that I used in one of the other days where we did the can koozie. If crabby, please return to the beach. And it is backwards because you flip it over when you press it. And it looks kind of dull because when you sublimate, then it brightens up after it's heated. I don't see any funky discoloring on the shirt. Well, actually, it is a little bit on the tannish, off-whitish color. So I'm going to move my print so I don't spray it. And then I'm just going, that is a really hard spray. Let me see if I can change that to a mist. And then I'm just going to hover this over the top. I'm not going to press it down. And I'm going to let that make that a nice white color again. And let's just see if that's a little damp yet. So I'm just going to let this sit over the top here. Now, when you are sublimating on t-shirts, you always want to put something in between the layers of your shirt. So just like I did when I was bleaching and I wanted to bleach out that front part, you want to do the same so that your sublimation doesn't go through the shirt, and then you end up with a slightly sublimated backside of the shirt as well. So I am going to be sticking this piece of Teflon in between the sheet, it is a sheet of Teflon. I'm going to be putting it in between the shirt so that it protects the other side of the shirt while we do this. There, that feels better, and it is nice and bright and white again. And maybe you could spray a little up here actually. I don't think I got the corner very well. So I'm just gonna hover this over that for a minute because we just don't want any of the weird discoloring. We want it all to be white. Now, as far as this white spot here in the middle of the shirt, this one is a little bit bigger than originally planned. The design changed from what my child originally wanted on here. So it's a little bit wider than what it should be. But that's fine. Maybe she'll pick out some fun little like seashells or something we can always add again later around the outside. But I typically will pick the design first for the shirt and then measure out or make like something that I can kind of gauge how big the design space needs to be. Some people will tape it, or they use they put their design down upside down and then they put flour around it or something to kind of measure where their space is. I just kind of eyeball it. That's just the way I am. You can do whatever you want. I don't think it's that big of a deal if it's not exactly the right size. Now, if you're selling shirts, then you might want to be a little more precise, I suppose, in getting it the right size so it doesn't look totally out of proportion. Now, with the shirts, you can eyeball it or you can fold it in half and get that crease line down the middle. But I am just going to eyeball where my design is going to go based off the tag. I want this part though up over the top of the press and any of these seams. We don't want that to interfere with the pressing. Okay, and now my design is pretty large. I'm just going to plop it right in the center here. And then, like I said, I might have my daughter pick out some other little things to go on here as well if she feels like it needs something. Now, grabbing my heat safe tape, I am just going to put down 2 little pieces here. Now, this is just one style or technique of bleaching shirts. I did an entire video earlier that walks through the whole process. It's pretty detailed and it shows you different methods and techniques of how to bleach shirts for different styles. I can link that up above and down in the description box below if you're interested in learning more on how to do this. Now I'm going to cover this with my Teflon, and I'm actually going to slide this up just a hair. That Teflon sheet underneath is kind of in the way, but it's up a little high. I think we are good to go. And we are going to press this with medium to firm pressure for 60 seconds. Bleaching and sublimating shirts is one of my favorite things to do in the summer, and my kids have so much fun just going outside and being creative, figuring out what style they want and all the different things, picking out their designs and printing them out. And I will tell you that recently I have had trouble finding shirts that actually bleach. Like when you do this, you need a shirt that is not 100% cotton because first of all, you're sublimating it as well. So you need the polyester count, which typically is around 65% polyester, and then the rest is cotton. And those have always bleached fine for me. And then you can sublimate on them. Well, I've gone through 2 different brands of t-shirts, and I'll put that down in the description below which ones, for whatever reason, do not bleach. Like, took them outside, sprayed them, they have the same polyester cotton count, and I cannot figure out what they are doing to these t-shirts so that they don't bleach. It is super frustrating, and I have wasted a lot of t-shirts doing that. So, oh, look at this. Here, I'm going to pull this off right away. You see how that is brown again? We are going to hit that again with our hydrogen peroxide and just let that hover for a second. Anyways, so the t-shirts I'll put down in the bottom that I have found do not work. And these are t-shirts that I've got from Hobby Lobby. And I think the other ones I ordered from somewhere, I liked the style of it, but it was a new brand that I hadn't tried before. Typically, I stick with the Gildan. Those seem to work great, and they come in so many different colors. And I think from now on, I'm just going to stick with that. I typically buy them off of jiffy.com or through Ninja Transfers, which if you are not into sublimating yet and you're just checking things out, that is a big spot there. If you're still checking things out, the DTF transfers from Ninja Transfers might be a good option for you as well. You can order your transfers and then all you have to do is heat it on. There's no printing on your end or sublimating, so you can heat it on to pretty much any type of material. I've also done a video on that. If you're interested in checking that out, I will link that down in the description below as well. Now we are just working on this lovely brown spot. This one might take me a bit to get out because it is quite large. So I'm just gonna put this here and pause for a minute and we will be right back. Okay, Now, after having that sit for a while, we got all that brownish color out of there and it looks and feels fine. I really like the greenness of this crab with the picture or the color of the shirt. I think that looks really cool. And that concludes our 10 days of summer sublimation. If you haven't seen days 1 or through 9, go ahead and watch those. 1 and 2, we go through in more detail how to actually design and print your sublimation prints, and you aren't going to want to miss out on that. If you are looking for other sublimation ideas, go ahead and watch the video that's coming up next.